Yes, and just to remind our viewers, because there's a number of cases circulating still against President-elect, and this was which we'll talk about in a minute, but this was the case, the New York State case, where Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg had charged Trump in March 2023 with 34 counts of falsifying business records to cover up payments to adult film actress Stormy Daniels after to buy her silence before the 2016 election after they had an affair, which Trump has denied. But he was found guilty of all 34 counts in May. And since then, he has tried to stay any sentencing. He has stated that he is going to appeal. But John George, there are other criminal indictments out there against the president-elect. Can you tell us a little bit about the status of those? I mean, first off, Jack Smith, his indictments have been dismissed, but where they stand in terms of what we know about those cases and what happened.
So after President Trump or President-elect Trump was won the election, Jack Smith had voluntarily stepped into court and withdrawn these cases against President Trump. There are some parts of the case that are ongoing related to the classified documents case. There are still two defendants in that case that are being sued or indicted by the Department of Justice, and that case will continue to go forward. And the other case, the election interference case against President Trump, that's gone for him. However, there is a report now. Jack Smith obviously did a lot of work leading up to these indictments, did a lot of investigation, and the Attorney General Merrick Garland has said that before he's done, before he leaves on January 20th, he is going to get these reports out. So the one report is related to the January 6th alleged insurrection by President Trump, excuse me. And then the other one is the documents case, the classified documents case. What looks like what's going to happen is that the case involving the insurrection that report will be released. However, when it comes to the classified documents case, it doesn't look like that's going to be released right now because that case is ongoing. There's still defendants in that case. So they would be prejudiced maybe by a report coming out. But that's really where it lies with Jack Smith now. It's pretty much at the end. And here we go. Here's essentially a final report on it that'll be submitted to Congress and then possibly disseminated to the public from there.
If it is disseminated, that will definitely generate a lot of interest. So we will see how long that takes and if it does happen. And the Judge Cannon case in Florida, the classified documents case, the judge has been very activist or proactive to help Trump's side. At least a lot of experts have noticed and have opined that she has done a lot to block and prevent that case from going forward. And this is sort of the latest salvo against Jack Smith, the prosecutor. They butted heads on a lot of ways. And
Sure.
can you talk a little bit about whether she does have the authority? She's blocked his release. He planned to release, as you said, the
Mm.
classified documents as well as the election interference. She has blocked the
Mm.
release of the classified documents. There are still other defendants in that case, as you mentioned. However, there are questions of separation of powers. Does she have the authority to block the Justice Department or the executive branch from doing something that might be narrowly tailored?
It's an interesting question. As a matter of fact, she has, right? So in this moment, she actually has done it, but it's a limited stay, and they appealed. Jack Smith appealed it immediately, and I believe is going to the 11th Circuit. Um, just trying to get that document to be able to put out to the public and have it redacted potentially to avoid any sort of facts that would hinge on the current defendants that are in place. And also, I believe that Judge Cannon in that case, what's being challenged now by those current defendants in the classified documents case is that Jack Smith was unconstitutionally appointed. That's a part of this too. So obviously it's within the judge's purview to be able to hear this. However, this judge is not the final arbiter, right? We have the 11th Circuit, we have Circuit Court, and then we have the Supreme Court. Jack Smith has stated that he's going to continue on with these cases. Now, when January 20th comes and President Trump is inaugurated, will that be the case? I'm not sure. You know, we won't know if these cases will actually continue or not. But that's the status of where things are now. If you look at this globally, President Trump's legal strategy from the beginning to when he got elected turned out to actually be fairly effective in delaying the cases, finding ways to appeal, finding ways to get him to that date, to November. And now the landscape as we see it has been really completely changed.